Let me tell you a fascinating story of servant of God, Francis Xavier Kroot.
The servant of God, Francis Xavier Kroot, is a great example for all of us. He is an inspiration for priests, for missionaries, and for religious life. And his outstanding piety, exemplary priestly life, and his devotion to priesthood, and his abiding zeal for missionary work is a perfect example for all Christians.
A great visionary and Indian missionary, founder of the Congregation of Sisters of Our Lady of Fatima. He was born on 7th December 1854 at Zwolle in Holland as the youngest and the eighth child to his parents, Henry Kroot and Joanne Schruers. The constant prayers of Mr. and Mrs. Henry Kroot was, "Lord, may any one of our sons be a priest to serve you." And one extra decade of the rosary was practiced during family prayer for this secret intention, that one of their children would receive vocation to priesthood. As a result, the three of their five sons became priests: Bartholomew Kroot, S.J., in African Mission; Anthony Kroot, a Mill Hill Indian Missionary; and Francis Kroot, the youngest, followed his brother Anthony Kroot. Two of his sisters, Adriana Maria and Anne Catherina Maria, died in infancy, while the third, Joanne Maria, expired unmarried at the age of 25. Godfrey and John stayed at home to look after the family and the shoe manufacturing business. Francis Kroot joined the minor seminary at Columberg in April 1869 and later to Mill Hill, London, for missionary life. During his holidays, while three boys were in the seminary, they lost their beloved father in 1870. In 1873, on July 2nd, while Francis was on his home leave and as he was about to join back the seminary, his mother breathed her last. After his ordination on 9th June 1878, Father Francis followed his brother Anthony to India, fulfilling the wish of their dying mother that the two brothers work together. On 8th August 1878, Francis Kroot, after a long voyage, landed at Madras seaport. Barely 24 years of age, Father Francis was appointed as the assistant parish priest of St. Mary's Cathedral, Armenian Street, Madras. He mastered Tamil and worked as chaplain at Poonamalli for 2 years. Being one with the people, he began to think of a congregation of Indian sisters early 1882. And he thought to himself, "Oh, could I build a nice convent here?" It has been my all-absorbing thought ever since I came here.
The servant of God, Father Francis Xavier Kroot, was a wonderful human person. I have been reading the life of Francis Xavier Kroot. It's an awesome life, very inspiring and deeply touching. And as I see it, it can be an inspiration for young men, priests, religious, and one and all.
He worked in other different mission stations in India in different capacities, such as assistant parish priest at Poonamalli in Madras, provincial of Mill Hill Missionary Society, assistant to his brother Anthony Kroot at Ravipadu, Guntur district in Andhra Pradesh, vice provincial, rector and professor at St. Joseph's Seminary at Nellore and Kurnool, chaplain of Fort St. George in Madras, and editor of an English weekly, The Catholic Watchman, presently known as The New Leader.
Monsignor Francis Xavier Kroot, a great visionary and missionary, was a man of prayer and far-sighted vision. He strongly believed that only Indian women committed to God could work for the good and improvement of poor, disadvantaged women and children of India.
All along we see in his life a life full of abundance. A life in abundance is the one that he communicated to his people. He had an abiding love for the poor. He wanted the emancipation of women and the empowerment of women. That's why he started the congregation of the Fatima sisters.
He was transferred to Bellary as the military chaplain and reached Bellary on 9 September 1882. Bellary. This was not the picture of Bellary 124 years ago. It was known for lonely, dry, and rocky land. Of course, crowned by the magnificent Tipu Sultan fort. Before the First World War, Bellary was an important British military station with barracks and offices for the troops in the cantonment area. When the troops left, the building remained. One of the old military church, dedicated to the Assumption of Our Lady, is a well-kept, spacious building. And another station, Kaul Bazar. In September 1883, Father Francis Kroot was appointed as overall in charge of 3,000 Catholics in Bellary, including St. Lazarus Church at Kaul Bazar in Bellary. The church was built by Father Patrick Doyle, and it is the present St. Anthony's Cathedral in Bellary. Father Francis Xavier Kroot encountered many spiritual, social, and moral problems in his pastoral efforts in Bellary. During his pastoral ministry and in silent prayer, he realized the importance of education for all, especially education of women and girls to change their status and to build up sound Christian families, for there was a rampant immorality and prostitution in the locality where women were given a very low status in society.
He went to the poor, bringing the good news of salvation to the poor families, bringing them joy and fulfillment in life. I urge all our beloved Catholics to be inspired by his life and by his writings.
On 1st June in 1886, Father Francis was appointed as the provincial of the MHMs in Madras Vicariate. 1891, he stepped down as vice provincial. While away from Bellary, he continued to prepare the soil for the seed. It was Archbishop Joseph Colgan of Madras who had the destiny of the congregation in his hands. The Archbishop gave formal permission to the request of Father Francis Xavier Kroot to start the new Indian congregation of the Missionary Sisters of St. Francis Xavier in Bellary in 1892. Thus, Father Francis Xavier Kroot's dream came true on 8th February 1893, when three sisters, Sister Mary Andrew, Sister Mary Anna, and Sister Mary Clare, said yes to the will of God. These sisters were kept under the care of Good Shepherd Sisters in Bellary on request by Archbishop Joseph Colgan. 29th June 1896 marked a memorable day in the history of the Indian sisters when they were formally led to their own home, St. Francis Xavier Convent, Bellary, at Kaul Bazaar. From then on, the Sisters of St. Francis Xavier began the work of education of the Indian children of Bellary. Unfortunately, Father Francis Kroot had only a rare glimpse of the infant congregation as he was forced to leave India for better treatment due to his fragile health. The untimely death of Father Francis Kroot left the sisters orphaned. Unfortunately, the sisters did not have any records or information about the founder for 80 long years. Daring to take leap into the unknown, the sisters faced upheavals from all quarters.
As the founder of this congregation, he remained hidden and unknown for many years, even to his spiritual daughters. Death took him in his short span of life, but his dream of making women powerful in India to work for others did not die.
Hoping against all hope for a better prospect, Mother Stanislaus, a great visionary, the then Superior General in the 1950s, took a daring step to shift the congregation of the missionary sisters of St. Francis Xavier from Bellary to Pune, with the permission of Bishop John Hogan of Bellary and Bishop Andrew D'Souza of Pune. In 1951, on 16th July, a new chapter opened in the congregation. As Bishop Andrew D'Souza of Pune rechristened the congregation from the Missionary Sisters of St. Francis Xavier to Sisters of Our Lady of Fatima, the generalate and the novitiate of the congregation are located in Pune. This change greatly enhanced the development and progress of the congregation. But the information about our founder remained unknown to the sisters. It was Mother Hilda, the then Superior General, who discovered the name and picture of the founder father, Monsignor Father Francis Xavier Kroot, in the late 70s. As a result, in 1985, Sister Stefna was commissioned to study about our founder. Sister Tekla, during her studies in Manila at the EAPI, met Father Bingham.
I met Father David Bingham, a Mill Hill missionary. When I went to him and said, Father David, our founder, is also a Mill Hill missionary by name Francis Xavier Kroot. He was so excited. I too was very happy because we had very little information about our founder. Then I wrote to Sister Arcangela, Sister, I have a classmate, a Mill Hill father who has come from Sarawak as a missionary.
And I wrote to the Superior General asking him to find out some information about the family and other details of our founder.
Then at once she replied, please tell Father to get some information about our founder from their archives. And he was very happy. He said, certainly, Sister, when I go back to England. And as he promised, he did.
So it so happened, Father Dimbos Yamacham had come to Ishwani Kendra to give a retreat. Sister Sandan was there, and he asked her about Fatima sisters. Are you one of them? Then she said yes. So he agreed to go to Holland as he was going for his vacation. and he saw that, contacted with many people in Holland. At last he found Sister Mrs. Dini Kroot, one of his relation, far distant relation. And through her we came to know many things.
And then he published this in one of their magazines, Mill Hill Missionary. And Father Jim Bost, who happened to be in India, working in India, read this. And he was very excited. And he came to the generalate. From there, we began the research on our holy founder, Father Francis Xavier Kroot.
Father Jim Bost is popularly known among the Fatima sisters as the founder of our congregation. The congregation was canonically erected as the diocesan congregation as a mother house in Pune on 15th December 1970 with the support of His Excellency William Gomes, the Bishop of Pune. The decree of praise was obtained on 18th March 1982 with the help and encouragement of Bishop Valerian D'Souza. In 1988, Fatima sisters procured the mortal remains of Francis Kroot from the cemetery at Hyres in France, and now it is kept in the chapel of the Fatima Sisters Generalate in Pune. For the better administration of the congregation, 2 regions were formed on 1st June 1996. From June 2002, the regions were made into provinces as Mumbai Province and Bangalore Province. And a separate unit was added in the Northeast as the Northeast region. A core committee was formed as per the decision of the 10th General Chapter for the canonization cause of our founder. The committee met 9 times from 2015 onwards. Bishop Henry D'Souza of Bellary took keen personal interest and did all the necessary procedures to initiate the beatification and canonization work of our founder.
As a person involved in the promotion of this cause, I feel I'm spiritually enriched, more energized to work more for the church and for the poor and the needy. I wish to promote this cause for the simple reason his life is touching us, it is enabling us, and it is empowering us. May God give him the joy of the honors of the altar.
Father Francis Kroot, MHM, a great Indian visionary and missionary who founded the indigenous religious congregation, went unnoticed, unknown among the Indian missionaries in the history of the Catholic Church for a long time due to lack of records.
He had prophesied, in God's hand, this convent, like a tiny seed, will grow into a mighty tree, spreading its branches far and wide into the subcontinent of India. Yes, God has blessed us through the intercession of Holy Founder, our founder, Francis Xavier Kroot.